Hey guys, you should be live.
Okay.
Hey, what up, guys? Brad. We're doing another interview. We're interviewing Gretta Simon. She's
Lavernge.
in a position. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I got your name wrong.
Okay. It's Gretta Simon Lavernge.
Yeah, you kind of spell it a little bit different.
Yeah, it is. It's spelled different. I think it's because it's French or something. I don't know. Something similar. He's from down south, so that's why.
So that's cool. You know, we're no stranger to French names.
Yep. So.
Well, I'm Brad. You know, all you guys know me, you should know me, but I'm interviewing Gretta Lavernge, and she's running for district council person. And tell us a little bit about yourself, Gretta.
Okay. Well, I'm from the Long Hollow district, and I'm currently working at Mayutecha Day Treatment as a counselor. Let's see, I've been back in the tribal area since 2003 after finishing college. I have two children, two boys, Kobayas and Daniel, and my significant other, or my husband, is Aaron Laverne. Let's see, I
Gretta,
went to school for.
You did a lot of work with the treatment program.
Well, when I first came back in the area, I started working at the at Dakota Pride. I think I worked there for about a year. I just to let you know a little background. My education is in business administration and drug and alcohol counseling. I know it's a weird combination. They even said that in school. They were like, "We've never seen anybody get a business degree and a counseling degree." Well, the reason why I got the counseling degree was to help me with the children that I was taking care of at the time. And so I ended up taking a lot of classes and I ended up being able to get a degree in it. So that's why I got my degree in drug and alcohol counseling. But my first degree is in business.
That's where I know. That's where I heard about you. That's where I know you from the treatment world.
The treatment world? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I do. Actually, I'm in recovery. I'm September 24th will be 25 years of sobriety that I have.
Wow.
Alcohol and drugs.
Hell yeah.
Yep. So.
Oh my God.
So that's why. So that's kind of a little bit about my background. I've worked in many management positions throughout the tribe, but I've worked at the college too, also in like a career counseling. I worked in the business department. I taught some classes at the college. And then I moved on and then I went into the casinos. I started working in the casinos. So that was kind of all that. I mean, I want to say about 3 years.
All of us have spent many years working in the casinos.
Yep. Yep, some shape or form. I was a dealer at one time and poker dealer at one time, and then just in all areas of the casino. So yeah. That's kind of a little bit.
Casino shape our life, you know. Our life revolves around casinos. You know, for me, it was customer service. You know, y'all gotta be in their face and telling them, you know, like, or, you know, telling them that they're not gonna get this for this reason, or, you know, on a more better note, you know, you tell them they want something, you want this.
Yeah.
And that gave me a lot of my foundation for my, what I do. It helped me a lot.
Mhm. Okay. I didn't hear that last part, Brad. What did you say? My phone was kind of
It
breaking.
helped me a lot for the, it helped me a lot breaking, good news and bad news to people. Because, yeah, I was got to be the face of the casino, like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. And I really liked it. I enjoyed that job too much, maybe.
Okay.
But now, whatever. It's not about me. It's about you.
It's
And
all
you're
good.
running for what district?
I'm sorry, what?
You're running for what district?
For Long Hollow District Council person. Yeah. So for Long Hollow District, I don't know if you heard it. Yeah.
We need, yeah, I heard you. I heard you loud and
Okay.
clear.
Sorry. I didn't know if you heard me or not, but
Yes,
okay.
yes. Well, tell us a little bit what you think about, our tribe being in the news for embezzling year after year after year, all these special elections that we're having. What is your opinion on that?
Well, looking at that, I think, for many years, we probably were not really structured in different, I'm just looking at it from the business sense, the business background.
Shouldn't we have done? I mean,
Um, I'm thinking, if we
shouldn't we have
had,
known better? Because as a child members, point of view, we feel like, oh my God, we vote these people in, and I never miss a election. I always vote. As a child member, I always vote.
right.
And my goodness, we're always in the news. We're always like, like there's always somebody taking something from somebody, and
Yeah.
we're really tired of that. We're so tired of that. This is, I remember working at the casino one time when a customer come up to me and said, I don't mind spending my whole retirement here, but what I don't like is, I hear in the news that, at the time, I don't know what it was, but it was 2012, and that was magic. And she came up to me and she said, I don't like seeing in the news that your government is mismanaging your funds. And this money doesn't actually get to the people. And I don't mind spending all my money here, but when you see that on the news, she didn't like that. And I didn't know what to say at the time. I was like, I'm just a customer service representative. Like I don't know what to tell her. I'm just like, okay, well, even our customers are getting tired of hearing about our embezzlement in the news.
Right.
Hi, Brad.
They don't want to spend their whole. Yeah.
We're having quite a bit of issues with your audio. It just sounds pure staticky, and most of the time we can't even understand what questions you're asking. Could you move to like a better, where you could get some Wi-Fi? Because you sound like a robot.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I can see you talking and everything, and once in a while a clear word will come through, but for the most part we're having a great deal of problems with your audio.
Oh, that's just
So can you move to a different location?
Right, well, we probably move, but it's gonna take like 5 minutes.
Yeah, see, I just saw your mouth moving. I didn't hear any of that. So I'm gonna mute you and take over, and then when you get into 5 minutes, I'm guessing. Okay. So I'm gonna mute you and take over, and then when you get into a better position, we'll try it again with you, okay? Give me a
Okay,
thumbs up.
I'll be right there.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, there. I muted him. Okay,
Okay.
Greta, do you know what questions you guys got through? Because it was really hard when I started.
I don't think we even started any of the questions.
Okay,
So,
did you do the introduction to yourself?
yeah, I kind of give a little background of who I am and where, what I came from and my schooling and working in the casinos and kind of my family, my sons, my husband. So just a little background of where.
Great. Okay, well, let's get started with the questions. What does transparency in tribal government mean to you? And how will you work towards transparency in tribal government if you're elected?
Okay. Well, for myself, I think, to me, transparency is openness with not only openness, but communication and accountability. I think that to be transparent, you have to um, be able to see every side of what's going on, whatever the issue may be. And to me, with like as far as the second part of the question, how would we go about working with the transparency, or how would we implement that? I think like um, implementing accountability with the checks and balances, like in the finance area, but not only that area, in every area. And maybe like continuing to live stream our meetings, like say the council meetings, not only the council meetings, but even the district meetings and the different boards, committees, and commissions. If we live stream them, record them, then we're able to go back and look at it. Okay, well, this issue was looked at. They talked about this issue, they looked at this issue. So to me, it's not only with the tribal council, but it's with all the the boards, committees, and commissions. I think we all need to be transparent on what we think and what we believe and look for the betterment of the whole tribe, not just a certain few. So that's what I think. And communication, the communication, we need to have more open communication. I think prior years we didn't have communication. If you didn't go to the district meeting, you really didn't know what was going on. So now, I like how they put all the council minutes in the shota. They're live streaming now, so I'm able to be more aware of what's going on with our tribal council. So, and I'm liking that they're being more open about it. So
Yes, I agree with you.
yeah.
What do you think about councilmen who vote against their district motions?
you know um we have to really take a look at the underlying motive, because that can go both ways. We have to, if that council person didn't tell the facts of what's going on with an issue, and somebody just decides to make a motion, fire that person or get rid of this department or do this for that, and facts are not presented and looked at. I think, if we really take a look at the oath that we have to, as a council person, that they have to take, it says, do solemnly swear that I will support and reserve the Constitution and bylaws of the Sistine-Wapton Oyate and the Constitution of the United States, and faithfully and impartially perform the duties of my office to the best ability, will work to promote and protect the interest of the Indians of the Sistine-Wapton Oyate, the Indians of Sistine-Wapton Oyate, and assist them in every way within my power. So to me, that doesn't necessarily mean just Long Hollow District. That means all of us. So, as the council representative, they have to look at all of that. So they have to always look at all of the facts of what the issue is, and not just, oh, because my family is going to benefit from this, so I'm going to vote this way. No, we got to look at the whole issue, look at the whole process of it instead of just certain parts of it. So we got to look at what are underlying motives. What is the underlying motive? Am I going to be here for the Oyate? That means us as a whole, or am I going to be here just for a select few? So we really got to look at that. So That's kind of what I mean, as far as with them voting against, what the district wants. They really need to take a look at, okay, why are you voting that way? What is his or her purpose of voting that way? And as the council rep, I would make sure this is why I voted this way. This, and this. And I would put the facts down as to why I did that. Yes, maybe you wanted me to vote this way, but here's the facts of it. And I think being transparent, then we're able to give the facts and not just because when you're not transparent, you don't give the facts of anything. You go by what other people say. Oh, she said this and he said that, so that's why I'm gonna do this. But no, let's go by the facts. Let's look at the facts, So that's kind of what as far as we just have to look at their motives as to why they do what they do.
Okay.
Or why they vote the way they vote. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah. So this next question has to do with racism.
Okay.
And I think we have a lot of frustration from our off-res members who they often talk about racism amongst each other. So and even racism, within our own tribe, and it has to do with if you're mixed with other races, maybe you're light-skinned, or even just that the difference between on-res and off-res. So what do you think about that? And then if you're elected, how do you plan on addressing racism in our tribe?
Okay. Well, to me, I as far as with the racism, I think it might be prejudiced. We might look more as the part of being prejudiced, like this family being prejudiced against that family or that person because they're a little bit more whiter, or maybe because they're mixed with native and black or whatever. I mean, I think every culture has racism in it. And it's crazy because I was just reading this book. It's called White Fragility. And I'm reading this I'm on a few national board or state boards for my church. And they wanted us to address racism.
Okay.
And so I'm reading this book of White Fragility, and I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, every race has this, not, like racism. Because I mean, and if you look at it, it's how we treat people who come into our culture. That we think we're superior than them. And, I never noticed that before. It was never brought to my attention or anything until I married a Black man. And he kind of gave me a little bit of how I talk. And I really had to look at that. And I was like, oh my goodness. And then reading this book, White Fragility, that in itself helped me to understand and see that, yes, we do have that among our culture. And how we need to address that and look at that is, we need to really we need to have those conversations. We need to have the conversation of racism, why are being prejudiced against this family or that, that family, or, why is that? We have to have those hard talks. We have to talk about that in order for us to change. And I always say this to like some of the clients that I work with is that, if you can't identify that you're racist or you can't identify you have a problem, then you can't change it. And it continues a cycle and it keeps going on and on and on. And so I think for us, we need to set things in place to where we do, don't make that racist joke. Don't make that joke about women. Don't, stop that. That's not nice. You're going to hurt that person's feelings. So what we need to do is we need to make people aware of it, that they're doing this, because sometimes people just do it not because they're trying to be racist or it's just they're joking around and they've always heard that. They just always heard it, so that's the way they do it. Well, no, you need to come up with to say a joke or talk about that in a different way, because that does hurt other people's feelings. So for me, I think we would need to really look at ways to show people and let people see that they're doing this. because that's the only way people are going to change, when they realize that, yeah, I am that way. Oh my God, I'm doing that. You know, otherwise they won't change that. They'll just let it continue to go on. Well, we've always done it that way. Well, no, it doesn't matter if you've always done it that way. That's not right. That's not right to be joking about Oriental people like that. You know what I mean? So to me, I think addressing the racism is making people aware of how we do that as in our culture. How do we do that to other people? How do we do that to our own people? So we have to come up with ways, and I'm sure if we put a few people together, we can come up with ways to address that, you know, to look at it. And how are we going to do that? Oh, maybe we might put it in the paper. Maybe we might have talks like this on Zoom and have a panel of people talking about this. You know, how can we address this? So just coming up with ways to really talk about those hard things. And sometimes they're hard to talk about because people don't want to say, well, no, I'm not racist, you know. But when you make those little snide remarks and comments, yeah, you are racist. But you know what? We have it in every culture, white, black, Latino, you know, everybody has that. And for us to just look at that and say, yes, okay, we do have that. Okay, now how are we going to change this? Let's look at making the change, not staying in the, no, I'm not, no, I'm not, don't say that, I'm not. You know what I mean? If we stay in that frame of mind, we're not going to change that. We're not going to change the thought of being racist or racism. So.
Yeah. And I think it's tough to get information to people, because I know in our tribe, I think we have really great we have a lot of really great speakers, presentations. You know, we have programs that put out a lot of information, but they're either attended by just other health professionals. They have very little reach. So I really think this time of pandemic has taught us that we can use social media and Zoom to reach a lot of our people, and that's what we've done, and that's been, I think, a really positive change.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I think so too. I really like that. I
Yep.
really like that we're able to do more of this stuff so it can reach more people.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so Brad thinks he's in a better spot. Brad, we're on question number 4. I'm going to see if I can unmute him. Okay, Brad, can you turn your sound on? Let's see. Brad, can you turn your sound on? Well, we're just having technical difficulties with Brad today. Okay, well, I'm going to continue on. If he can get on with us, then we'll hear him and then he can take over. But the next question is, would you be willing to accept a stipend for your time instead of a salary, and why or why not?
Okay. You know, I was thinking about that and looking at that question. And, you know, if there's a set amount, like say, oh, we're going to put tribal council at 60,000 and the executive, the treasurer and I'm sorry, not the treasurer, the secretary and the vice at this amount, 100,000 or 80, and then the council person at 100. I think, you know, to me, with what their salaries are, whether they get a salary or whether they get a stipend. If the amount is set and they get a stipend every month, either way is going to be, I don't have no qualms with either way of it. Because, you know, if you get a salary, they take out your taxes, but if you get a stipend, they're gonna have to do the same thing for you. So to me, I think it really doesn't matter whether we get a stipend or whether we get salaried. I think what, you know, from my understanding, you know, as far as, you know, what we mirror our council or tribal council, or we don't mirror them exactly, but with our United States legislation, they go with salary. And why they go with it? Because of this, taking their taxes out. Because actually, either way, we're going to have to pay taxes on it, no matter what we do. And we found that out back in 2003, 2004, that even our boards, committees, and commissions, they have to pay taxes, or they may not. What they need to do is they have to do I-9s, right? So either way, we're going to have to, the IRS is going to get us one way or the other. So to me, I'm looking at as far as, whether we get a stipend or whether we get a salary, our taxes do need to be taken out. I think either way would be fine. But as far as myself, I guess it wouldn't matter to me, whichever way we do it.
Okay, can
Hey, Gretta,
Uh-huh.
me?
okay, hold on, Brad. I just
Hey.
want a little follow-up.
Okay.
So I think some of the issues that comes out of stipend or salary has to do with the amount of work that council does. So currently, you can go into the council suite and there's going to be guaranteed there's going to be 3-4 people there, and then guaranteed there's going to be at least 3 people not there, but they're still making the same amount. There's council people that don't go to those roundtables and learn information, that only show up on council days or show up late. I mean, my district has that issue. And so I think that's, the people are kind of fed up with that. And that's where those questions are coming from, is that, is it justified for a council person to be making $60,000 a year when they show up for 3 council meetings a month and that's it?
Okay.
I think that they should, be putting in work. They should be at least doing at least 3 community projects, and we should give them those projects within their own community of said district. What are they doing for their district? What are they doing for their people?
Mhm.
That's my opinion
Okay.
on that.
Well, to me,
Brad, you're so
okay,
clear.
if you're painting the picture in that way, then I think, if we are salary, then we need to set some guidelines for them. Okay, so you need to be at your office these days, and then this day, and then if you're going to be gone, then you need to put in leave, like like any other employee that has to do that. Then you need to put in leave while you're going to be gone. So you need to be accountable for your time. As far as with stipends, basically, we can set that. We can set that as far as, how we want this to be set up for a council person. I want them there 4 days a week at council so they can be there when the issues pop up. And they know they got to be there just like everybody else, 8 to 4 or 9 to 5 or whatever. But we can set that up, and if they have to leave, then they need to take their leave and do what they got to do. Or if they're going to be sent off somewhere, then that's, the same thing. So I think, yeah, we can do that. It can be done, as far as salary or stipend. But for myself, I mean, I've always worked at the casino and worked for the tribe a little bit, worked for the casino, but we're stickler on time. And even as a manager, you have to clock in and out, because you have to be accountable for your time. So I know about being accountable for my time, and I get that. And I understand that just because your salary don't mean you don't have to be there. You got to be there because you got to be there for your people, as far as looking at it as a manager point of view. So.
Okay, thank you for that. Do you support cultural preservation, specifically our Dakota language, history, artifacts, and art?
Yes, I do. I was waiting till I turned 55 so I can go back to school and learn Dakota. I want to be fluent. My mom and dad were both fluent Dakota speakers, and I could understand it, but I don't know. I had a really time. And my mom used to tell me, Greta, you spoke all the time when you were a little girl. What happened? I don't know. I honestly don't know what happened. But like when people talk, I can understand what some of them are saying, some of the words. But yes, I do believe that we need to preserve our Dakota language, and we need to make it affordable and accessible for people to want to go and learn, because I think that's important. It's our identity of who we are and our history. I really think preserving our history, I mean, we need to do that. We need to continue to do that. And our artifacts, the artifacts and some of the art, I think Tamara deals a lot in that. And I'm really glad that she's in there doing that, you know, taking care of that, preserving our artifacts. And then just knowing our history, our bloodline, who our families are, where we come from, you know, and that's for our identity and who we are. So yeah, I really support that. I do support preserving our culture. So
Hey, Greta,
uh-huh.
can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you now. I can hear you pretty good.
All right, all right. What is your opinion on off-reservation voting for off-reservation members?
Well, right now, I would really push the council to do something about it, especially with the COVID, you know, what's going on with the COVID. And because that's a scary thing. We've lost tribal members to it, you know, and so that's kind of scary in itself, just looking at that. But as far as, you know, the off reservation voting, um, you know, we can do that in voting regular for the president, and you know, and for our you know, the sheriff and all of this. We can do absentee ballots or mail-in ballots. So I think if we were able to set up policy and procedure and processes how we go about doing that, I think it would be okay. I think it would be all right for us to do that, to go ahead and set that up, and allow some of our tribal members that are out working, you know, in different areas, you know, Minneapolis, down south in Albuquerque, that they can, you know, and especially if we become transparent, where we're live streaming all our meetings and all of this, they're going to know what the issues are. So they're going to be able to come in, and then their voting will be able to be educated vote, not something, well, my cousin told me this and cousin told me that, so that's right. So I think, yeah, I think it would be okay if we could set the process up. I think it would be great.
Sorry to interrupt you. You do know how many members we have, right?
Yeah. So
we're pushing 15,000.
Right. So
how many members? How many members live off the reservation?
I'm pretty sure more than half.
Yeah, more than half.
More than half.
Right.
Way, probably even more than half. Yeah.
And you know, the reservation did a really good thing by helping the off-reservation members with the COVID assistance program.
Right.
And you know, we really appreciate that. We do, but there needs to be you know, a lot of those families that don't live here, you know, they were given relocation money to live in different cities and they've never come back. You know, like nobody gave them a plan to what to do now after they got that relocation money. And that relocation money was a big program back in the day. We used to give them, you know, a lot of money to move away. And now that the grandchildren want to know, you know, is there tribe there for them?
Right. I know I have a lot of relatives that have been adopted out, or not one. Well, there's a couple of them that haven't been adopted out, but they've been living over in Wisconsin. And we find out they haven't legally been adopted out, but they changed their name and everything. You know, so we have a lot of issues in that area as far as, you know, the Relocation Act. And then we have a lot of them that are coming back now. I want to come back and I want to know my culture. Yeah, my mom relocated over here and she told me I was Dakota Sioux. So yeah, now I want to come back and I want to live here. I want to experience it because I never have, and grew up all their lives in the big city, like, you know, Albuquerque or in California.
some
So
of these families, some of these families, their grandma who moved away and got that relocation money, they were told never to move back. Like there would be nothing there for them. There's nothing on the reservation for them.
mhm.
Yet, like, they have more than a quarter blood, these grandchildren, and they make up the majority of our enrollment.
Yeah.
What would you say to them? Is there going to be a program that would allow them to move back, and maybe they can, help us in some way with their education and their experience off reservation?
I think, well, don't we have some programs set up like that now? Like if you were to move
I
somewhere, I
don't
think,
think
doesn't
so.
ET Demo help in that area?
Oh, no. No, no, no. I'm talking about to help us move back
Oh,
to the res.
and I'm sure we can. I'm sure we can have something set up like that. I mean, if there isn't something set up already, I mean, we would have to look and see so we don't duplicate services. But to see, yeah, I think we should, because there is a lot of people that want to come back and move here, but they might have came back and visited one or two times, but
Especially in these times, these are tough times.
yeah, and it is. So I've lived in both. I've
We'd
lived
like,
on the reservation and I've lived off the reservation. So, and I know that it does get tough sometimes out there, so. Okay.
well, I appreciate you asking my question.
I think we got off the mail voting or the mail-in voting. Sorry, I didn't mean to get off of that, but yeah, I think it would be a good idea to do that. To have mail-in voting or absentee ballots.
I think our reservation has more, our reservation was always the test subject. When it comes to relocation, our reservation was the first reservation that they tested that program on to try to get people to, de-tribalize, and leave their, families and take their whole families and relocate,
Mhm.
In different cities, and I think we need to really address that issue for all the tribal members that are here. We're still here. We're tribal members, they're tribal members too. They want to be involved. And they should be involved. They didn't relinquish their right to be, a part of our, government or culture.
Yeah, I think so too. And then, like I was telling Shannon, that if we look at transparency and we continue to air our district meetings and our council meetings and our committees and boards and commission meetings, those that live off the reservation are going to be more knowledgeable about what's going on at our tribe. They're going to be able to get knowledgeable about what it is, what our issues are, or what things we need to look more into. And then the other thing is, them living off res, they might have more ways to help us make changes here, or to help us in ways that we didn't know that existed. So I mean, to me, all of this would be something that needs to be looked at and addressed. Yeah.
All right, Greta. I got my questions
Okay.
here now.
Okay.
For me. So, it's reported that our Dakota Crossings, has been losing money
Okay.
since it opened. The track has invested millions, in trying to keep our own store afloat.
Right.
Apparently, according to us, and if we were to close, what could we use that building for? And do you support closing that store and making it into something else that would better, benefit us as a whole?
I think, We could probably repurpose it if we were to close it down. I'm not saying close it down. I'm saying if we were to look into it and we find out that it is just taking more money than what it is, then we, as the council, they need to decide, okay, or if it's that's an issue in the next election, that's the issue, then we need to really take a look at that. Okay, how are we going to either make this work, or what are we going to do? Shut it down? Okay, so then if we are going to do that, then let's repurpose it for something that's going to benefit the whole tribe, not just this,
Have
this,
you,
or
have you
whatever.
seen the numbers?
Huh?
Have you seen the numbers on that? Have you seen the numbers?
No, I haven't actually. I haven't looked at the I know I hear a lot of people talking about, they're losing millions of dollars. Well, to me, if that's the case, and if we can't get somebody in there to turn it around, then yes, maybe we do need to close it. And if we do, then we need to put it something that's going to benefit all of us to put into that building. Maybe we can even bring connection.
Personally, I'm not about closing it. I don't think we should, and that's
Okay.
not just to save face, I don't think, maybe, and a lot of people have my same opinion. I don't think we should close it. I think we should stop trying to sell things that aren't selling, and maybe just go with what the economy in that area needs. Like the deli. So apparently the deli makes a lot of money. Everybody loves the deli there. Maybe that should stay open,
Mm-hmm.
It's convenient, and maybe we don't need to have a whole, everything else. We can make it into something else. If we need a really good salesperson that is really good with people and numbers, and crunching those numbers to see what's benefiting us and what's not, and stop trying to sell what's not selling, what's causing us so much money. It doesn't make sense to me why it's losing that much money. I don't really believe those numbers, to be honest, as a outside person looking in. I don't think it's losing that much. It can't be, because we basically, we pay for ourselves, don't we, with our elderly cards and that. I think we need to have numbers that are shown to us to see how much money we're spending there, how much money they're spending there, and how much money the store makes every day, every month, and how much money we're spending to keep it open.
Mm-hmm.
Brad?
Don't you think that should be made public?
Yes, I think it should be made public. Yeah, so we can. And so we can make an educated guess on it, or not educated guess, an educated, instead of, leaving us in the dark and not showing us, we're not able to say, yeah, close it down, or no, don't close it down. We should be able to see that, to see the numbers. Are we making money, or are we not making money? And it can be, I mean, we see it in our C stores. All our C stores have accountability. We can see the numbers, that they're making money or they're not making money. The majority of them are making money. So yeah, I think if we got somebody in there to show the numbers, that would be great. Yeah.
Brad, we're getting quite a few complaints
Yeah.
on our Facebook page about your audio. So I think I'm just gonna take over, because it just doesn't seem to be getting better, and our viewers are getting pretty frustrated.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. All right, Greta. So let's get back to the questions.
Okay.
So what ideas do you have for economic development?
Okay. For economic development, I think there's a lot of industries that we can bring here to our reservation, especially, because we are, on our reservation, we're able to do certain businesses. So to me, I think some of the industries we can look at, maybe like fish farming, construction, or because I was looking at our cement factory here in town. You know, they have a monopoly on that, because their cement factories have monopolies, because you can only carry that so many yards. And I was like, man, how come we don't get a cement factory? We're doing all these building, we should have our own cement factory. So stuff like that, material, um, making something for the government. We did do that with our trash bag factory. Now let's look at something like how Spirit Lake, or is that Spirit Lake, the one up in North Dakota, where they make camo net for the army? They employ a lot of workers in there at that place. So bring something in like that, like a bigger industry making parts or something. But not only that, we can look at doing something like that, but then we can also look at um, housing. Not housing for tribal members, but housing in general, apartment buildings. Doing apartment buildings and making, because then we can also house the people that work at our factories. So, setting up a type of factory, maybe looking into like wind energy, solar energy, but going green. I read an article on Tesla and how he makes these batteries. Um, Elon Musk makes batteries, and they help with, and they're attached right to their homes. He's doing this study down in Australia on it, and it's cutting the light bills in more than half. So, we can look at stuff like that. Those are some of the different economic development things that we can look at, to bring to our reservation, to bring new money here. I should say, I mean, new money, because we're going to bring different people in to probably work in that factory. So we would bring different money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but those are just some of the ideas that I was looking at as far as with that question.
Okay, thanks, Greta.
Mm-hmm.
One of the biggest issues coming up in this fall's election will be our decline in revenues from our 3 casinos due to the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
In light of the declining revenues, what programs or projects need to be reduced or replaced? And how would you make a significant difference from other candidates running against you? And we can really see this now, even with our, with how our elderly cards have been affected, our school closed money. We were very, as a tribe, very dependent on our casino gaming revenue. And
Mm-hmm.
so now that's really going to have to change.
Right. And I think we need to take we need to look at all the programs and prioritize what is essential. What do we need to make sure we continue to be operational and to be helpful to our membership? So I think we need to prioritize that. And then if they're duplicating services, then we need to combine the services. Or if they're almost doing similar services, then we either need to look at how we can bring them together, or if not, bring what they do here and we can have it under one roof. So I think just prioritizing what's essential, what we need to continue to help our tribal membership as a whole. So
Okay, thank you for that answer.
mhm.
Now let's get into some questions about council. How do you
Okay.
view the purpose and function of tribal council? Is it a legislative or administrative body?
I think for what I see it as, it's a legislative body. And the administrative part would be probably the chairman, the vice chair, and the secretary. And I think, to me, the legislative body, the council, needs to look at towards our future. We need to look at, and make decisions and laws that are going to benefit all of us as a whole. I know that sounds really broad, but it's like, we have to be visionaries. We have to be the visionary for our tribe. We're not going to always be doing the same thing, because life changes. Whether we like it or not, life changes. And I know some people, we've always done it this way, so we can't. No, we need to learn how to be a changing culture, because life changes whether we like it or not. I remember when I was young, but now I'm old, so we changed. We got, so as far as with our tribal council, they need to be the visionaries. What are we going to do for the future of our children? What are we going to set up? How are we going to set this up? When I came back in 2003, when I was in school, in one of my classes, they brought in this guy from Germany, and he set up this system. Like, I think it was for, I want to say, it was a bigger corporation out of California, but he set this system up where the primary place could see all their little components. You know what I mean? Like, he could get on the computer and look at them stationed out in South Dakota and the ones in Minnesota. And just like, I'll give you an example, like not Subway, Starbucks. So like the main hub is in California, but all the Starbucks, he could get on the computer and he could see the financials and the administrative part to that store in Minnesota, to that store in South Dakota. So for me, that's visionary. And I think as a council, that's how we need to be. We need to start looking at how can we be sustainable for our future? So, and they said a long time ago, looking at the, what our money makers are, which is the casinos. Now we need to start looking at other things that are going to help keep us sustainable. And what are we going to do? What is our purpose? What is the purpose as to what we want for our future? I would like to see a lot of our children educated, wanting to be educated. I think our college over there needs to get up to standard, like Sendeglishka. They got to be able to provide our master's degree, or at least utilize them to go. So, we can go here to class and be in class down in USD. This would be a hub for them. Or, we need to do that, because I think if all our children get educated, we'll have a brighter future for our children. So I think as tribal council, we need to look at stuff like that. We need to be able to ask, have something set up in that way. Let's go ahead and, to me, let's go ahead and pay for somebody's education and let them work for us for 5 years. 5 years work for us, and then you can go out and work wherever you need to work. If you want to leave here, then that's fine. But be able to educate them, and let's not get burdened, because the majority of us that have gotten our education, some of us are pretty burdened with student loans. To me, the future, to see our people get educated to where they want to come back and help our tribe. To me, that's when I got educated, that's what I wanted to do. That's the reason why I went and got educated, because I wanted to come back and work at a casino, or run the casino, or become a general manager, to be able to help everybody, not just help myself, but to help everybody. So for me, I think the tribal council needs to be a visionary. We need to figure out what we're going to do as far as our future. So.
I really like that. I like that idea of as our council as a visionary. I really like how you put that. Have you read the duties and responsibilities of the council that is in the early legislative policy?
I'm like early legislative before the red book. Is there something before that? Or this, or before that?
Oh yeah, there's something before that.
Okay.
We have a legislative policy that exists right now, and
right.
it lays out, how our council are compensated. And then they used to be able to get all this stuff, like they used to get bonuses, paid leave, so much paid leave, and then they could cash it in at the end of the year in a severance package. And I know that it's been pared down. So that
okay.
Yes, that's the legislative policy.
Okay. As far as I know I've read some of it, and I think wasn't that written by Sandin or something? That one, is that the one you're talking about?
Well, they rewrote it. It's gone
Okay.
through several changes. So the current one kind of just covers that they get a severance, that stuff.
Okay. So what was your question to that?
The question was, have you read the duties and responsibilities of the council that is in the early legislative policy?
Okay, as far as before that, no, I didn't. And I know I read some of it. Because when I came back around in 2003, I read this and I'm pretty sure that's what it was, the legislative policy.
Yes,
So
and there's been several times when the various council members have brought versions of it back. So I'm sure you've read, one of them.
right. Yeah. As far as, to me, I look at, our policies and our procedures, they govern us. And, I think a lot of people, and for myself, coming back here to the reservation and start working at these different positions, almost every position I got into did not have policy and procedure, nothing to guide us. And then I had to write policy. And then I had to do, and so almost every position I went into, I had to write policy. But, as a business major, policy, it governs us. It governs on what we can and can't do. And so to me, it benefits not only the employee, but it benefits, excuse me, it benefits the company. Looking at it as a business perspective, it benefits both. So, to me, we do need to have something that is going to guide us, but we need to have it to where it's not so outrageous. Because I remember reading a version of it and I'm like, holy cow, oh my gosh, oh my God, So I was like, kind of like, wow, they get a lot of stuff. And I'm pretty sure they didn't want that getting out because they didn't want people to know exactly all the stuff that they got. But I think we do need to have a policy that governs us in that area. In the area of salaries and the area of our duties, what we need to be doing, what I think we need to have all of that. But
Yeah.
as far as
So
with what
do you think we need a written document that spells out all the duties?
Yes, because not only the reason why it does that is because if I come in and I'm not doing what they elected me to do, I'm not going here and I'm not doing this, and I'm running around and I'm drinking and I'm carrying on and all of this. It doesn't have that in that policy that they can't. Well, it does. I mean, I know it does, but I'm saying if it didn't have that in there, then I could do whatever I want to do. And you can't stop me from doing that. And so to me, I think that, yes, we need to have something spelled out in that way to govern us. So, because that's like putting an expectation and a standard on us. And a lot of us can rise up to that standard and that expectation. We can, but if we don't, then we could just run it however we want to. And we could say this, we could say that. So yeah, I think we do need to have something, but we need to have it where the whole Oyate has an input to it. That, no, we don't like this. Well, why don't you like this? Well, because I don't like it because of this, So I think we need to have it, we need to have like something set up where we write that. Well, like for the judicial, we need to have a committee to do that. Maybe an ethics committee that comes in and we get that set up to get, put together, and we write that out and spell that out for each of the positions, the council and the executives, maybe the boards, committees, and commissions, and all of that. And we have that set up, and we have a process set up in case if they, don't follow some of that. There's a process how we can either suspend them without pay, or we can, whatever we can do to, hey, stop that. That kind of behavior is not right. You're representing all of us, So to me, I think having something to that effect is very helpful.
Yeah.
But having it too stringent and we could do this and we can do that and we run the world. No, that I don't think it should be like that. You know
Well,
what I mean?
I think that's how it is now. So
Right.
I think that's how we've gotten into this situation where, you know, we have a lot of division within our tribe, because
Right.
I think that our council has gotten to that point where they just kind of do whatever they want and they don't have to listen to the people.
Right.
So, I mean, that's my opinion, but I really love this idea, mostly because, like you, almost every job that I've had to write or develop policy. And so I love policy writing. So
Yeah.
I feel like, you know, I would just, if I think the tribe could create a policy position, and that would probably be just my dream job, just to write policies for the tribe. But
Right.
I also think that we would need, I love this idea that you have about, you know, creating a legislative policy that's more inclusive. But then I think then we need to put limits on it too, because I think the problem is, in one of our comments was that nobody likes policy. They want to rewrite their own, and it only benefits those in places of power. That was a comment that just came up from our off-res group. And the thing is that I think we would need to put some checks and balances into place. So if they
Right.
want to
Yep.
amend the legislative policy, then they need to have you know, they need to have at least 4 districts, you know, agree to do it, to vote to do it. Because
Right.
I think that's where we got in trouble, is that we didn't put any checks and balances into place. Because I know with our councilman, you know, he comes down and he says, okay, well, we changed our legislative policy. Here it is, I'm putting on this table here, you know? And so
Mhm.
where's the input from the people?
Right. Yeah. See, I think what I mean, I worked with the casinos a lot. So and I worked in management at the casinos. And a lot of it, if you what we're missing at the tribe is the compliance part,
Yes.
you know? And I think if we get compliance, or like we said, that legislative policy department that writes that, I mean, all to me, if we're gonna set up a new business, all of this needs to be set up prior to it even opening the door. And I'm sorry, that's the way I see it. You need to have their policies and procedures. You need to have the job descriptions. You need to have it all set up prior to opening the doors. Why? Because those things govern us. Those things tell us what we can and cannot do. And to me, if and it's not only protecting the employee, it's protecting us as a tribe. It's protecting both. And so we can say, you know, okay, you're not doing this. Now, come on, we want you to change this behavior. So you need to change it. Either you're going to change it or you're not. And if you're not going to change it, then we got to let you go. But you need to change it. So most of the time, someone's going to step back and think, okay, they're either going to fight it, or they're going to be like, okay, maybe, yes, I do need to get to work on time. All right, I need to start working on that. Okay, I am. And they start, then that's how they make. And so what we're doing is we're making our people better. We're putting a standard and they're rising up to that standard. You know, people think, oh, we're going to put policy and procedure. They're not going to follow it. They're not going to, you know what? But we can. People can rise up to the standard. If we set a standard, people are going to rise up to that and they're going to be able to do that. And we are capable. We're not dumb people. We're smart people. And you know, that shows even back. I mean, and I hate to bring up the past, but living in a teepee, come on, we had to be really innovative and you know, below zero weather. We're not stupid. We're not a stupid culture. We're not, you know. So that's what we need to do. We need to set our standards and people are going to rise up to them. We will. We will. People will. You know, we have the capability to. So I'm sorry I might have got off on a tangent. I'm sorry I didn't need
Oh
to.
no, that
So
was a great discussion. Thank you very much for that answer. Are
okay.
you in favor of the current way that tribal council and execs are suspended and removed from office? And how would you make it a more fair, complete, and factual process?
You know, I think, you know, looking at it like the last couple of things that the resolutions and all of that, and looking at that, I think what we're making the council be all of it, the fact finding, the disciplinary, the You know, we're making them be everything, which what they should do is they should divide those duties out. Maybe they need to get a department where they investigate um all of the issues that come, like the allegations that come about. Send it to that department. Here's these allegations, blah blah blah, da 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 da. Here they go out, they find the facts, because you know, when you go and you look and you find all the facts to something, then when you bring it back to the body that needs to make the decision of it, they have a better understanding. Okay, this is the fact. He did this, they did this, she did that. Okay, so now I'm basing my decision on facts, not basing my decision on she don't like him, so she said this and he said that, and you know, and we can't, for our council, you know, when they make that decision, they need to, you know, I'm looking at them now, how they removed, they're doing all of it. So to me, I think we need to separate some of that and let them make the decision whether to let them go or not let them go. But we need to also get a department in there or a division where they find out everything. So their decisions that they're making are not going to be biased. You know, they're not going to be biased. They're going to say, okay, I'm looking at the facts. Here's the facts. So who can go against that if you're looking at all the facts? This is why we made the decision on these facts. Oh, okay. All right, these are the facts. And so that's why I think we need to separate some of that, because if they're going to make the decision to let somebody go, then they can't be the one investigating it. You know what I mean? Finding the facts and putting them together. So
Okay. Regarding the tribal constitution, are you in favor of how it's written, or do you think it should be amended? And to say what?
okay, you know, I was reading some of it and you know, I really think that we need to, some of it's good and some of it probably needs to be tweaked a little bit and changed. But I think as we need to come together with that. Um, I think it needs to be a process, especially a process of how we let somebody go off of the council. There needs to be a process in order. So if I let this person go and we did this process, and I let this person go and we didn't do the process, that's not fair. So to me, it needs to be fair. But as far as reading this, I think we need to set something up where we can really go over and look at it, and to be able to put everybody's, you know, I'm going to tell you, when I came back in 2003, they were looking at changing this then. They, you know, people wanted things changed out of here because, you know, some of it wasn't so defined. It was like very open. But to me, I think that in order for us to make the changes on this, we need to come together as the body. The whole body needs to come together and really take a look at this. Is this what we want to govern us? And if it is, okay. And if it isn't, then let's set something up to where we can. And I think, doesn't judicial do that as far as with these amendments and stuff?
The Constitution Revision Committee, they
Yeah.
take care of all the revisions to the Constitution. And, you know, we have every election cycle, we have proposed Constitution revisions, and they go on the ballot. But our problem is that we can never get to that 30% of our voting threshold in order to change or amend our Constitution. So right now we have 11 proposed Constitution changes that will be on our ballot. But unless something changes, you know, it's highly unlikely we're going to get our 30% voters needed to change our Constitution.
Okay, you know, I was looking at that. You know, we were talking about that issue about getting that amount of people to the count, you know, to the meetings to change this, and down in, I think it's down in Marty. Oh, I can't remember what's that reservation down there. Ihunktawas.
Yeah.
You know what they do? They make it mandatory for everything to close down. Everything is closed down when they're having their council meeting. everybody better be there. And when they all get there, they have enough to vote and do different things within their council. And I think for us, you know, if this some of this stuff is really important to us and to our children. And so we need to make it possible to where we can all come together and talk about it, bring the issues that need to be worked on. And not just say, oh, yeah, if you want to go, you can go. And I've noticed that in the beginning, when I first came back, they were making it mandatory that, and I think I can't remember who was in office at the time. Maybe it was Russell Hawkins. I think he was just getting out at the time, but they were making it mandatory. And I would go to council meetings and there would be everybody there. I mean, there was a lot of people. And now you don't hardly see anybody. But
Yeah,
it's because of that. Because of what
me and Etta Joe.
yeah. And it's because they have that in there. We have to have so much percent of people to be represented at the time. So we need to really look at that. Is that really feasible? Is it feasible? And if it isn't, then what would be feasible? And then what would we want to change? Well, then we need to put a process in place so we can't just be coming in every other month making changes. You know what I mean? Making this. Okay, we're going to change this week. Okay, we don't like it, so we're coming in and we're changing it. You know, so I get that too, why they put that percentage as to how many people need to be there to make the changes. But we probably really need to look at, okay, we have some really pressing issues here. And let's look at the issues and prioritize them. Okay, these are the ones that really need to be addressed. Now, if we don't have the count, the vote, we can't make them. But we need to take a look at that too. So we need to come up with a process that's going to be helpful to all of us. So we can put things in place instead of just saying, well, we're not going to do it because we can't get it. No, let's look at what we're going to, we can make the changes. We can be able to do that. So we just have to be able to put a process in order. And a lot of times it's probably work that people don't want to do, because sometimes policy making and writing and stuff like this and grant writing, that's all tedious. That's stuff that, you know, it's, some people are not good at that and some people are. And so we need to really look on other people's skills, the skill level that we have. We have a lot of people that are skilled on our tribe that we can come together and figure out how we can make this work for us. You know, we can. I know we can do that. I know we can. So,
Okay. So last question. Do you have any issues that you would like to work on as a tribal council person?
You know, I really like, you know, I'm just going to be honest with you. I had hope. I was like, yes, they're going to address. And I like what some of the, you know, what they're doing now as far as some of the stuff that they're working on. And I just like this thing about transparency. And to me, I like it because, you know, it holds us accountable. It holds us accountable to what we're doing, to what we're there for. What are you there for? Just for the stipend? Are you there for really to make a decision and to look at our future and to make our future for our children happen? Because I mean, our children are not going to have a future if we don't spend our money right. And like I said, when I first came back around here, I was like, you know, I'm going to tell you how rich people stay rich. And I told a few people that, and they're like, you don't know what you're talking about. But you know what? A lot of the rich people set up escrows for their children. A lot of people, they do escrow accounts. They do money market accounts. You know, they do a lot of stuff like that. They invest. And I was telling him, I said, you know, and I looked this up for our district because I wanted our district to do this, was to put money away and I just looked at Wells Fargo. There's other banks that probably give us more interest on it, but to set up an escrow account in Wells Fargo, and if you put $1.5 million in that account and you let them use your money for however many years, they give you interest every month, like 30 some thousand. on $1.5 million. 30,000. Back then it was a lot of money. Back when I first moved back around here, it was a lot of money. I'm sure it's more now. But if we're to put 5 million away, that's what, 30, 60, 90, 120, 150. That's $150,000 that we can use for something, that we can take the interest and set it aside. So to me, I think, if we invest money and live off of our interest, because that's how rich people stay rich. They live off of their interest that they make. The money, they let their money make money for them. And we're a rich tribe, and we should start doing that. Instead of going out and borrowing, we need to set up a budget and stay with the budget. Stick with it, stay with it. And then we have to be those people that no, we can't do that. No, this is our budget. So if you want to revise our budget, bring that in next year when the budget revisions come about. Bring it back in then, and then we can do that. But this is our budget, and we need to go according to our budget. So to me, I think, if we want to make changes, we need to do that. We need to start investing our money in a ways that is going to make money for us. And we really need to take a look at that, our economic development. Sorry, I got somebody calling me. Hold on, I'm on. Sorry about that. So we need to really take a look at that, because I think we can do that, because like our youth and our elderly, they get money every month. Well, let's put money aside so we can use that interest to help our youth, to help our elderly. So we don't have to worry that our elderly going to get coupons this month. I think if we would have invested back in 2003, coming up on this pandemic, we probably wouldn't have been hit so hard. You know what I mean? So I think we do need to invest. We need to invest in different ways. We need to get a financial person to come in and to look at ways that we can invest our money, things that we can look at to invest our money. Because to me, we'll be able to stay afloat. Look at how Shakopee does. Shakopee loans money to people, and they're staying afloat, So that's what we need to look at as well. I mean, that's kind of what I was looking at as far as we need to look for our future, what we're going to do in our future. So.
Well, that's all the questions that we have today. But if you want to, I'm just going to leave you a little bit of time to just talk about whatever you want with the viewers, just to leave a sense of who you are.
Okay. Well, I just want to share. It's kind of really hard to talk about myself. But I'll share some stuff with you. I mean, a few of my friends were telling me, well, share everything, your experience and all of that. And I'm like, oh, really? Talk about your military experience. Yes, I was in the military for 7 years. I'm a war veteran twice, Panama and Saudi Arabia. And they're like, Greta, people don't know that about you. And I'm like, well, I've told people about it. Some people don't. Nobody don't know about that. No, we didn't know that. That's what you were. And, so it's kind of hard to talk. I don't know about anybody else, but it's kind of hard to praise myself up or whatever. So, but, I've done things. Since I've been back, I've been in management positions. Like I said, I had to write policy, but I mean, sometimes I had to make some hard decisions, and believe me, some of those decisions of letting a person go from my department was very hard for me. In the beginning, when I became a manager, it was like, man, I'm messing with their family's livelihood. And, and I would give them chances, but a lot of times they wouldn't take those chances. And they would continue to do what they, doing. And so I would have to do the hard thing and let them go. So, I have experience in that. And sometimes saying no is really hard, but sometimes we have to do that. We have to say no to some things because for the betterment of the whole. So if I continue to keep people on my department that were not producing and not productive and they weren't doing what they needed to do, they were causing my other department to be, to get upset and be like, well, God, she's just favoring them. Look at that, So it was really hard decision sometimes to, let people go. But Sometimes you have to do that. So that was something else. You know, I have experience in that and then experience in the military. And the one thing I love about the military is it gave me discipline. And that's one thing that we need to look to and for our future of our children is we have to learn, they have to learn discipline, you know. And a lot of times it's hard because, you know, if you look at like, have you ever tried to go okay, this year I'm going to exercise every day, and then you start out really good for the first week and the second week and the third week, and pretty soon you're slowing down, and then pretty soon you're not doing it at all. You know, it takes discipline to do that for the whole year. And so we have to learn to teach our children that discipline. And it can be taught very simply, you know, and very simply as taking a shower every day, brushing your teeth every day. We have to show people that, you know, when you come to work and you're here every day, you're being disciplined. You're disciplined. You're a disciplined person. If you show up every day to work, and if you're sick, you don't come in, but you show up otherwise, you know, you're learning discipline. And so, you know, to me, that's what I loved about the military. That's what it showed me was discipline. So, I mean, those are some of the things that I've done in my past. And that's what I'll be bringing to the council is, you know, the military experience, the management experience, you know, looking at, you know, having to make some hard decisions, but making them because I'm doing it for the betterment of my whole department or for the betterment of the tribe. So that's just some of the things that I wanted to share as far as that I didn't share, you know. I think I shared it, some of it in the beginning, but some of the things that I wanted to talk about. So
Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us. Are going to have some more Q and A's next week, but I'm
okay.
still locking down the dates for everybody.
Okay.
So, but thank you for coming and spending your time with us. I really appreciate it. And everybody, we'll see you next time.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.